What's going on, guys? It's me, Dreamliner Fan 2016 here, and today we have the AeroClassics January 2023 releases for you guys. I have never done an AeroClassics release before, so really interesting that I'm now diving into other retailers' releases. And AeroClassics, this is very interesting because I don't collect as much AeroClassics because the retro models, but I do have two AeroClassics from Frontier Airlines, but I do want to dive down a little more on AeroClassics because they also released some retro models as well. And although I'm not a retro collector guy, it is very interesting to collect these retro models, I gotta say. So I'm really excited to dive down into these releases from AeroClassics, and yeah, some interesting models. Unfortunately, I did see two models that were in the January 2023 releases, and I'm just gonna show them to you guys later on, but I already saw them. I did not see the full picture, but yeah. Now, if you guys are wondering how I got into these AeroClassics release, well, technically I would see these AeroClassics, and similar to the Gemini and NG releases, they spark an interest to me to see what models that I'm eager to collect. And I've seen some people do this. I know Red River Aviation does this too in his channel. So I do want to give this a try. And maybe JJ Skippy can also do it. Is probably doing this too. I'm not sure when he's gonna do it, but he mentioned that he's gonna be doing AeroClassics releases soon. So I decided to jump in. So I'm really excited for what AeroClassics has to release. And let's start off with the two models, which I already saw. So here's the email from Easy Toys right here. This is their newsletter. And yeah, so let's dive down into the AeroClassics January 2023 releases. And we're gonna start off with the two models that I already saw, which is the first one. And here it is, the 1/400 scale Southwest Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8 in the Desert Gold retro livery, registered November 871 Hotel Kilo. Now, of course, I did see this aircraft, and seeing the AeroClassics, I think they were confused if this black nose anti-glare seeing was going to be on the aircraft, but unfortunately it was not. So I think I think what they could have done is they should probably look back to the livery, and they could have fixed that. So yeah, but overall, AeroClassics Max mold, that's interesting, but it's not as perfect compared to the Gemini jets. Well, for that one, but the NG one should be very interesting. I'm eager to see what the NG looks like. They released the molds, their sample molds, but I'm eager to see what the final product is for the Max mold for this desert livery. So really interesting right there. And yeah, so you got the Herb Kelleher plane, the Max 8, November 871 Hotel Kilo from AeroClassics. So already we have three manufacturers doing this livery. We got NG and we got Gemini Jets, which is in their future releases. So yeah, really interesting right there. And now we move on to our second one, which is this one. This is the Air Hawaii Douglas DC-10-10, registered November 9004 Whiskey Alpha. Now, I never heard of Air Hawaii before, so it's a very interesting airline. I'm only familiar with Hawaiian Airlines, but I don't think I never heard of Air Hawaii, or maybe they were actually the airline before Hawaiian Airlines, if I were to guess. But interesting. Hang on, I just gotta look at the history of the Hawaiian Airlines because I'm not familiarized with Air Hawaii. So if I were to guess, then I think Air Hawaii was the airline before they rebranded to Hawaiian Airlines. So really interesting right there. So once again, that registration is November 9004 Whiskey Alpha. So yeah, that's that. So those are the two models that I saw. And other than that, I didn't see the rest. So we're gonna see the rest of them right now. So let's go down, and we should... Whoa! Wow! This is interesting right there. We have the Delta Airlines Boeing 737-200 in the Colors in Motion livery, registered November 322 Delta Lima. Very interesting right there, to say the least. I think this is a very cool release because I never had a Colors in Motion aircraft. It is very interesting, and yeah, it's a nice aircraft from Delta Airlines, and nice that AeroClassics is doing this. So I may try to pick this up. I know I don't collect Delta models, Delta Retro models in that case, but that is very interesting. I may have to think about that. But other than that, a very interesting release from AeroClassics for this year, for this month. Yeah. Once again, registration of that aircraft is November 322 Delta Lima. So there's that Delta 732, looking pretty nice. And next up we should have is, and we have the Delta Express Boeing 737-200, registered November 325 Delta India, and this is also in the Colors of Motion livery, but it has the big Express title, so kind of like the same thing as like this Delta 737-200, but this is operated by Delta Express instead. Now, I'm not sure which is operated by, but it just says Delta Express. Probably that's another regional brand for Delta. Yeah, so that's that. Once again, registration on that aircraft is November 325 Delta India. And as we scroll on downwards, let's see what our next model is. Ooh, now this is an interesting model right here. We have the Continental Airlines Douglas DC-9-32 in the red meatball tail, registered November 354 November Yankee. Now, how about this? This is a very interesting model right here. This is an interesting aircraft in general. Now, is this like a Saul Bass aircraft? I'm not sure, but not familiar with these like old liveries. But yeah, they're kind of like new to me, so try to like look into like the deep dive of like retro aviation. But yeah, I think I may try to like leave a text of what the real name of this livery is, but it just says the red meatball tail. But there's like a real livery name for this. It's very interesting right there. And yeah, so that's the Continental DC-9 for ya. And very interesting aircraft indeed. Alright, next up, down the line, we have another Continental DC-9-32, but this time, it has the black meatball tail. This is registered November 351 Alpha Tango. Now, this is also a very interesting aircraft as well, but the main difference is this is the black logo. I think this is just a black logo on the airline, and this is the red one. Guessing that's gotta be the logo of the airline. Once again, black meatball and the red meatball. Interesting right there. Now as we scroll on downwards, we should have an Austrian Airbus A320 registered Oscar Echo Lima Bravo uniform. And yeah, just like one of those modern airlines, because sometimes AeroClassics would like release some modern airliners, like an Austrian A320, but mostly the reason why they're named AeroClassics is because they release retro models. Of course, they can like pull in some modern models as well, but mainly other than that, it's just retro models. So yeah, very interesting right there. Next up we should have is a Thai Airways Douglas DC-10 registered Hotel Sierra Tango Mike Charlie. So really nice for the Southeast Asian people who are into like collecting Thai Airways. So here's that. Really interesting livery right here. Thai Airways has a very interesting livery, I gotta say, and this is one of their interesting liveries. Their current livery is also nice too, but this is like the retro design of Thai Airways' livery. Really interesting airline. I haven't seen Thai Airways. Wait, actually I slightly did, but I don't have like a proper picture of one. So hopefully I can try to like get a picture of Thai Airways one day. They're a very interesting airline, and I'm eager to see if I could try flying them one day. So the registration of this aircraft, like I said, is Hotel Sierra Tango Mike Charlie. Alright, so now we move on downwards, and we have a US Airways. Let me rephrase that. So we have the US Airways Airbus A330-300 registered November 275 Alpha Yankee. Now, I think NG Malls did this too, so I think this is similar. AeroClassics is kind of like jumping into the action of this US Airways A330. Or actually no, NG did not NG Malls did not did a US Airways A330 yet. So AeroClassics is gonna do this. So really interesting. So once again, registration of that aircraft is November 275 Alpha Yankee. So a really nice retro model for the US collectors right here. And yeah, US Airways, a very interesting airline back then. And I think they were a very amazing airline before they merged with American. So really nice right there. Now as we move on, actually that's it for mainly the 1-400 side. Now we move on to Western / AeroClassics rivals. And let's see what we got first. And we have a Western L1049 Constellation. Or is this like a super constellation? I'm not sure, it's just a constellation. But the registration of that aircraft is November 1552 Victor. And yeah, this is a very interesting 1-200 model for the retro side of things. Now, I never heard of Western, but I think they were like, I don't know which airline merged with Western. So, actually, yeah, that is a super constellation. It just says constellation, but it's actually a super constellation. So, really interesting right there. And a very nice 1-200 model, I gotta say. I think that looks very nice. Alright, so now we move on downwards. Let's see what our next model is in 1-200. And that is another super constellation, but this is now from Chicago and Southern. Now, I never heard about that airline too, but really interesting airline. I think this was back in like, if I were to guess, I think this is like a 1930s airline if I had to like guess, or maybe 40s or 50s, but interesting airline right there. The registration of this aircraft is November 86535. Yeah, very interesting model right there. Moving on downwards, and actually that is it for the AeroClassics release. That is it for the AeroClassics 2023 releases for January. So overall, a really interesting release set from AeroClassics right here. Very interesting varieties like this Delta Airlines 737-200 Colors of Motion. And we got Air Hawaii, and then some Continental Airlines, and we got Austrian, and we got Thai Airways, US Airways, and all these 1-200 super constellations. So really interesting right there. I may try to like go for this Delta, excuse me, but what I'm saying is like I may try to go for this Delta 737-200 in the Colors of Motion livery. That is a very interesting pickup for me, but not in my list yet. But that is a very cool model. I never had like a Colors of Motion aircraft, but I'm eager to see if I could try to pick this up. And about the Delta Express, not sure about that because it just says Express. I like the Delta Airlines more. So yeah, so I may try to pick that up. As for like the Continental Airlines planes, they're very interesting, but I may have to do into some further research on that if I want to like get this model or not. So yeah, so that is pretty much it for the AeroClassics 2023 releases for January. So it is a very interesting choice I decided to do for these AeroClassics release. I know it's very interesting because I never done this before, and what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so let me know in the comments. Yeah, here we go. So let me know in the comment section if you guys liked the AeroClassics release, and tell me if I should do more of these. Sorry for that long pause right there. I can't talk. Sorry, can't talk today. Just had like a long day, and currently recording this at the night. But yeah, I just want to like look at these AeroClassics releases. Ooh. And yeah, so interesting video right there. And yeah, so that is pretty much it for today's video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and turn on that post notification bell so you won't miss a video like this anytime soon. So yeah, that is it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Anyways, good night.